السلام عليكم. الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. أما بعد، يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في كلامه المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والله يدعو إلى دار السلام. صدق الله العظيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, when we are presented with a business opportunity or the chance to invest some money, two questions come to mind. How much do I need to invest? What is the initial capital that I would need to invest? And the second is, how much return will I get on my investment? We all like to seek a business opportunity in which the investment is small, but the return is maximum. We get the maximum return on our investment. The smaller the investment and the greater the return on our investment, the more it is appealing to us. There are small acts. In the light of ahadith, today I will present to you small acts, a'mal, 10 small actions, which one can do very simply without much investment of time. But the return is Jannah, the maximum return anyone can hope for. Some of these a'mal that I will present to you today, you might be already practicing upon them. You might have already heard about them. But part of my responsibility as a khatib is to present it in one place, in a way that is appealing to you. Because these 10 a'mal, based on 10 different ahadith, are found in various books and chapters of ahadith. I am presenting it to you in the next 10 minutes, all 10 of them. Like a woman in the house, a wife, a mother, who cooks food in the kitchen. All the ingredients are there in the kitchen, are they not? The onions are there, the spices are there, the meat tenderizer is there, the oil is there. And this woman in the kitchen, what does she do? She puts it all together and it becomes a dish, a cooked, delicious meal. And then she presents it to her family in an appealing fashion, so that it is very appealing to her family. She just doesn't put it on the table here. Put a block of food in front of you without a plate and say, here, eat it. No, she puts it in a nice way, so it is appealing to the eye. So that is part of my responsibility, is to present ahadith, Quran and ahadith, in a condensed version. Bring it all together and then present it to you in an appealing way. The first is Man tawadda'a. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, whoever makes wudu, فَأَحْسَنَ وُضُوءَهُ, and he makes good wudu. In other words, he takes care in making sure that the parts of his body that need to be washed are washed. He doesn't leave any spots dry. He doesn't do it in any haphazard fashion. He takes care and shows due diligence in making wudu. فَأَحْسَنَ وُضُوءَهُ, he makes good wudu. ثُمَّ قَالَ, then he says, أَشْهَدُ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَحْدَهُ لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ وَأَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ, the shahada. ثُمَّ قَالَ, then he says, اللهم اجعلني من التوابين واجعلني من المتطهرين. Oh Allah, make me from amongst those who turn towards you, and make me from amongst the clean and pure. يدخل من أي باب الجنة شاء فتحت له أبواب الجنة. The doors of Jannah are open for him. How simple is the act? Does it require a lot of time? A few seconds, maybe 10, 12 seconds. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم اجعلني من التوابين واجعلني من المتطهرين. What is the reward? Maximum reward that anyone can hope for. فتحت له أبواب الجنة. The gates of Jannah are open for him. يدخل من أيها شاء. He can enter from anyone he pleases. Number 2 out of the 10. I said 10, right? Number 2. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ya Bilal, O Bilal, Inni dakhaltul jannat al-bariha. Last night I entered Jannah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at times was shown Jannah, the vision of Jannah. In Mi'raj, in night of Isra and Mi'raj, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam practically saw Jannah with his eyes. Only 2 prophets have seen Jannah with their eyes. Adam alayhi salam, the first prophet, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the last prophet. But then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was shown Jannah in his dreams. Sometimes when he was praying, he was shown Jannah. He was leading the prayer, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam moved forward. Sahaba said, "Why did you move forward?" He said, "I saw Jannah. I was so attracted to Jannah. I moved towards Jannah." So I was shown Jannah, O Bilal. فَسَمِعْتُ خَشْخَةَ أَمَامِي. I heard your footsteps in front of me. Every person, when he walks, there's the sound of his footsteps. I heard your footsteps in front of me. In other words, you were in Jannah before me. سَبَقْتَنِي الْجَنَّةِ. What is it that you do? Bilal radiallahu anhu answered, O Nabi of Allah, there is nothing that I do which is different than what the other Sahaba, what the other companions do. Except for one. There's one thing that I do which probably others don't do. أصلي ركعتين بعدما أتوضأ ما توضأت إلا صليت ركعتين. Whenever I make wudu, I pray 2 rakat. Whenever I make wudu, I pray 2 rakat. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Biha, this is the reason. This is the reason. Wudu itself. Imagine wudu. Wudu salahul mu'min. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, wudu is the weapon of the believer. When a person is in wudu, then temptations of the shaitan are not as strong upon him. Wudu is the weapon of the believer. A person should try his best to be in wudu at all times. At all times. Once I went to my teacher's house to visit him, and it was time for prayer. So he said, let's make Jamaat. He had some children playing in the lawn, 5, 6 children, different ages. And he called them and he said, come for Jamaat, come for prayer. All of them came. I said, don't they have to make wudu? He said, Alhamdulillah, in my family, all of us have wudu at all times, adults and children. Imagine if a person's time to leave this world comes and he is with wudu. We don't know when our time is, when that time is. But we all know that we will leave this world. And we might not have the time to make wudu. Won't it be pleasant for us? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Kama ta'ishun tamutun, or kama tamutun tuhsharun." As you live, you will die. If we live with wudu, inshallah, we will die with wudu. So the second was 2 rakat, salatu tahiyyatil wudu. The third, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Idha qala al-mu'adhin, Allahu Akbar, qulu Allahu Akbar." When the mu'adhin says Allahu Akbar, you say Allahu Akbar. And when the mu'adhin says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, then you say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. وَإِذَا قَالَ الْمُؤَذِّنُ أَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ, you say أَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. And when the muazzin says حَيَّ عَلَى الصَّلَاةِ, you say لَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. The muazzin is calling you towards salat. Come towards salat. And you say لَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. I don't have the ability, I don't have the strength to stay away from any sin or the strength to do any good except through you, O Allah. And when the muazzin says hayya al falah, you say la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Wa idha qala al muazzin Allahu Akbar, you say Allahu Akbar. And when he says la ilaha illallah, you say la ilaha illallah. Whoever says this, answers the muazzin, dakhala al Jannah, he will enter Jannah. Imagine a small investment, very small investment of time. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is giving the glad tidings of Jannah. Fourth, an Usman ibn Affan radiyallahu an. Usman ibn Affan radiyallahu an has narrated, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, Man bana masjidan lillah. Whoever makes a masjid for Allah, banallahu lahu baytan fil Jannah. Allah will make for him a house in Jannah. Ulama have said, Man bana masjidan. Whoever makes a masjid, it could be a very small masjid. In the villages back home, sometimes they have masjids which are very small. It can only accommodate a dozen or so people. Even a brick in a masjid, a single brick, you will fall into this category of making a masjid. Working for the masjid also falls into this category of making a masjid. Taking care of the masjid, paying for the operations of the masjid, falls into this category of making a masjid. Man bana masjidan lillah. Whoever makes a masjid for Allah, banallahu lahu baytan fil Jannah. Allah will make for him a palace in Jannah.